Naoya, the Monster Inoue, MJ Akhmadaliev.
Make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point. What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Puncher's Point. Now, the last episode I did, it was a preview and a prediction episode of Canelo versus Crawford, and everybody is hyped about that fight, and as they should. Don't get me wrong, great fight. But there's one fight as boxing fans that we seem to be overshadowing, and this fight is going to be happening the day after Canelo versus Crawford. We got the undisputed super bantamweight champion Naoya Inoue, the monster, returns back to the ring, and he returns to Japan to fight the one guy that has been calling him out nonstop, time after time again, MJ Akhmadaliev. Now, originally, my thoughts about this fight were, well, if MJ lost to Tapales, I don't see how he could beat Inoue, knowing that Inoue destroyed Tapales. But then again, you also got to think styles make fights. And so for me, when I went and I did the overall film study and the breakdown of each fighter, I realized this is going to be a pretty close fight. Now, bear with me. I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comments who are going to say, oh, Mario, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't understand boxing. You don't know nothing about it. I already know I'm going to hear all of these opinions, but bear with me. This is going to be a pretty close fight. This is going to be a fight where both guys have their moments. And in my opinion, I can see this fight playing out the way Inoue versus Donaire did. But before we get into all of that, before we get into my prediction, we got to start off with the breakdown. And with that being said, we're going to kick it off with arguably the pound-for-pound king, Naoya Inoue. Now, Naoya Inoue, we all know about him. We all know about the monster and how dominant he is. I mean, it seems like every single fight now, it just ends in a knockout. And it seems like no matter what people try, no matter what game plan they go in there with, no matter what weaknesses they even exploit when they're in a way, and we're going to get to those weaknesses a little bit later on, it seems like they just cannot defeat the monster. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's really hard to beat a guy like this. It really is. It's going to take a special fighter to do it. And the question is Akhmadaliev that guy? But before we get to that, we got to go through the breakdown of Naoya Inoue. I think if we're going to look at Naoya Inoue, one of the biggest strengths is offensively, he's the complete fighter. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There has not been a fighter in a very, very long time that has the offensive abilities that he has. And the reason why I say that is because this guy, he doesn't have a weakness on offense. This guy will absolutely tear you apart any way he wants to. And the true reality of it is guys can go in there. I mean, we've seen him in the ring with guys who've had good defense, guys like Stephen Fulton, guys like TJ Doheny. These are the guys who have good defense, good quickness, good speed. And it didn't matter because Naoya Inoue went in there and he dominated. And that's just been the story of every single fight he's had. It doesn't matter if you knock him down. It doesn't matter even if you clip him with a good shot. You got to understand that this guy offensively is a monster. He is dangerous. I'm going to say this right now. He might be the best offensive fighter in today's boxing, hands down. And I think we tend to forget how special this guy really is until we see him fight again. But what I will say is he is absolutely complete offensively, and he is extremely versatile. If I had to point to a punch where I would say that is the strong punch for Inoue, I would say it's his right hand. I mean, that right hand, I mean, it's dropped so many opponents, and the truth is he can use it in many different ways. I mean, when we talk about the right hand, this guy, he just knows how to use it. I mean, and the truth is you don't want to get hit with that right hand either. He could throw it in a hook. He could throw it as an overhand. He could throw it as a straight. That right hand has been an absolute beauty for Naoya Inoue. And when we go back and we look at it, I mean, you can even look at the Fulton fight. I mean, that right hand popped Fulton. And Fulton didn't even see it coming. That's the truth about it. Fulton didn't even see that punch coming. And when he got hit with that right hand, that was it. But I've also seen this guy use the right hand against guys like Maloney. I've seen him use the right hand against guys like Neary. This guy, I mean, that right hand, I don't know what's in it. I don't know if that right hand is just a grenade. But it seems like any single time he hits a guy in the chin with that right hand, it seems like a bomb just exploded. And so I will say if I had to point to a punch that I could look at and be like, this is the one punch you do not want to get hit with when it comes to Naoya Inoue, I'm going to say his right hand. However, like I said, he's also very, very versatile. If you're going to protect your chin, if you're going to keep a high guard, well, guess what? You're leaving your body open. And when you do, that left body shot is not pretty. That is not a shot you want to get hit with either. In some cases, that shot might be worse. Obviously, nothing hurts more than a body shot. But with that left body shot, I mean, you can ask TJ Doheny how he felt about that. When he hit TJ Doheny with that left body shot, he hit him so hard that TJ Doheny was limping. He hit him so hard that it affected his spine. I mean, I'm going to say this right now. Power-wise, I mean, this guy is unbelievable. But the truth is, everybody, the guys who are worried about that right hand, everybody who has been worried about that right hand, they end up getting clipped with that left body shot. And that left body shot is a very, very dangerous punch when it comes to Naoya Inoue. What I also will say about him is he does have elite footwork. Now, I've talked about his offense. And defensively, I do think he has elite skills. And I will say one of those skills is his elite footwork. I mean, that guy, the one thing about Naoya Inoue, and I will say this, he has the athleticism. Thing about Inoue is he's got that athleticism to where he doesn't really have to rely on defensive fundamentals. Now, bear with me. I'm not saying he doesn't have those defensive fundamentals, and I'm not going to lie to you. There's also places where those defensive fundamentals lack. But he does have defensive fundamentals. The thing is, because he's so athletic, he's able to kind of ditch them at times, and he's able to take more risks. He's able to basically go in, get his punches going, clip the guy with the punch he wants to punch with, and slip right out. And I do believe that a part of that is his elite footwork and his athleticism. We seen him with Roy Jones back in his prime. Roy Jones was so athletic, nobody could touch him. So Roy Jones could get away with certain mistakes or certain flaws. He can get away with certain holes. You know, he didn't have to always keep his guard up 24/7, opposed to some guys who might not have the best footwork. Roy Jones Jr.'s footwork was elite. His athleticism was elite. And the same thing with Naoya Inoue applies. I mean, his athleticism, his footwork, it's elite. And I think the footwork and the athleticism helps because Inoue isn't put in a box. He doesn't have to keep his guard up. He doesn't have to overthink about, well, if I throw this punch and I lay my guard down, this guy could clip me. He doesn't think about that type of stuff. I know he's been clipped before. I know he's been knocked down before. But the truth is, most of these fights that he goes into, he could take that risk because he's so athletic. Now, the other strengths that I will say he has, he's a ring general. I mean, you've seen it every single fight. There's so many guys that are just so afraid to engage with Inoue because they know what's going to be coming next. There's not many guys that are willing to risk it. I haven't seen a guy go blow for blow with Inoue since Donaire in the first fight. I have not seen one guy go punch for punch with Inoue since Donaire. And I mean, there was Cardenas. Cardenas was the closest thing to it. And Cardenas did a good job for the first 4 out of 5 rounds. The only problem was, again, it's going to catch up to you. Inoue will catch up to you. And when he does, you better watch out. But what I will say, a part of that is his ring generalship. The way he's able to control a ring. The way he's able to move around the ring. He's able to use every single inch to his advantage. And that's something that a lot of boxers can't say that they can do. But Inoue is one of those guys. He's very good at controlling the pace. Again, Inoue is that type of fighter to where he can make this a dogfight with you. And on top of that, he can make it a fast-paced fight. But he's also that type of fighter that's very patient. And he can make it a slow-paced fight. He can make it a slow-paced fight, too, if he wants to. And I think that's the type of things that a lot of fighters got to watch out for. What pace is Inoue going to bring into this fight? And for me, I think the reason why he's so great is because, yes, there is the athleticism, and yes, there is the footwork. Yes, there's the offensive abilities. There's the power. There's the speed. There's all of that. But the one thing about Inoue is the way he can control the fight. The speed in which he controls a fight. Again, if he wants to land one shot, knock you down, and just wait for that shot and be slow, precise with it, he can do that. But if he also wants to come at you with 4 or 5 punches and basically pick up the speed, he can do that as well. You really got to kind of get a feel of what pace he's going to bring into this fight. And he controls the pace extremely well. I will also say he's very good at disguising punches. You can look at the Fulton fight with that knockdown. When he knocked down Fulton the first time, he disguised that punch extremely well. And Fulton didn't see that punch coming. And he loves that little feint. He loves the little disguise where he'll kind of throw a little punch low, or he'll throw a feint low, and the guy will drop his hand just for a second. And right when he drops that hand, Inoue comes with that right and clips him. That's one of his favorite feints, but he has so many other disguises as well. There's so many times where he's on the inside and he's boxing with these guys and he's digging into their body. And again, they'll drop their guard for just a second and he'll clip him in the face. There's many times where they'll keep those guards up and Inoue will fake like he's going high and then they'll lift the guard up just a little bit more and they'll clip him in the body. Inoue is so good at disguising punches. He's so good with feints and he's so good at basically keeping a poker hand, making sure that his opponent does not know what punch he's going to throw. I will say the left uppercut on the inside, when he is punching on the inside and he is brawling, that left uppercut is definitely a tool that I feel Naoya Inoue really loves to use on the inside. And then last but not least, the check left. If there's going to be a counter that he's going to hit you with, that check left, it's right there. And I do feel like that is a very underrated punch in Naoya Inoue's game. And it's a punch that a lot of opponents don't see coming. And so, with that being said, we talked about all his strengths, but what are the weaknesses? Well, if I had to point to some weaknesses, I will say most of the weaknesses happen on Inoue's defense. And so I'm going to get to that in a little bit. So the first thing I will say is he's great offensively, but he does get caught within exchanges. Perfect example is that first Donaire fight, like I mentioned before. Him and Donaire went to war. And there were times where Inoue, I feel like maybe got a little bit too cocky or a little bit too careless, and he really engaged too much on the inside, or he really tried to just be wild with those exchanges, and Donaire clipped him. Donaire clipped him a few times, and when he did, you could tell that that might have been one of the first times in Inoue's career where he probably felt some danger, where he probably had to back up, he had to rethink stuff. And I do feel like even now, if you go back to the Cardenas fight, there's many times where he's getting clipped in between exchanges because he's not relying on defense as much. One of the very underrated weaknesses that I've also saw with Naoya Inoue, and I didn't talk about it that much the last time we talked about Naoya Inoue, or the last preview or prediction episode we had with Inoue. I didn't talk about it that much, but I think I need to talk about it now. He has the same weakness that Errol Spence did against Terence Crawford. If you looked at Errol Spence, when Errol Spence would throw a straight to the body, Errol Spence kept his head straight, he kept his head on the line, and when he would throw that straight, he would lower his head, he would lean his head in. And if you look at how Terence Crawford countered that, he basically, moved a couple steps back. Errol Spence overreached, and Terence Crawford knocked him down. Inoue has that same problem. And I noticed it first with the Stephen Fulton fight, but Stephen Fulton didn't capitalize on it as well as he should have. And I do feel like that's still a weakness in this game. If Naoya Inoue is going to overreach, if he is going to lean his head in, right there, it's wide open for the taking. You just got to clip him. Now, it's easier said than done because Naoya Inoue is so fast. But the truth is, if you can clip him, that's an easy knockdown right there against Naoya Inoue. And look, I'm not going to be the type of guy to sugarcoat it. His last few fights, Inoue has shown some holes. He's shown some weaknesses. Again, he got knocked down by Luis Neri, and then he got knocked down by Cardenas. There were times where I feel like Doheny was outboxing him. So for me, there have been times where Inoue recently has been showing some weaknesses, and everybody keeps on saying, oh, he can risk them because he's Inoue, because he realizes he can take those punches and they can't take his. But at the end of the day, somebody's going to come along the way. He can't do that for long because somebody is going to come along the way and somebody is going to expose those weaknesses. And again, if he can't critique them or fix them, he might run into the wrong guy. So I will say that will be his second weakness. The third weakness, I will say he keeps his body open. So I do feel like there are opportunities there to land to the body. And I do feel like you can take advantage of some of those opportunities. I believe Donaire did a great job of that. Cardenas, same thing. So I do believe that there are times where you can take advantage of his body because he does leave it open a lot more than you would expect. If you go back and you look at his film, you can kind of tell, you can kind of see where he leaves that body open. And I do feel like that is a hole in Inoue's game that Akhmadaliev can take advantage of. He could use more head movement. I'm not saying Inoue don't got no head movement because he does. But the truth is, again, sometimes he shy away from that. And I do feel like in a fight like this, I would like to see him use his head a lot more, move his head around a lot more. But there's a lot of times where he just keeps that head straight. He keeps it on a line, and he relies too much on that athleticism. Now, like I said before, that athleticism, it works for Inoue because he is so athletic. His footwork is so elite. But at the same time, like I said before, he does lack in some fundamentals. And in my opinion, head movement might be one of those. And somebody's going to say, well, what are you talking about? He's got elite head movement. I never said he didn't. I never said that his head movement is bad. What I said was he sometimes shies away from the head movement. And in my opinion, I feel like if he's going to go into a fight, especially a fight like this against somebody like MJ, who's a former super bantamweight champion himself, he's got to go in there looking sharp. He's got to go in there sharp and ready and focused, and he cannot lose those fundamentals. And then last but not least, the left counter, perfect example. If you go look at the Cardenas fight and the Nair fight, that left counter, like I said, they hit him with the same exact punch, and he got knocked down by the same exact punch. That left counter is going to be there against Naoya Inoue, especially when he drops his hand. That is going to be there. So I do feel like if there's a punch that Akhmadaliev has to take advantage of, it's that left counter. And I'm going to talk about why that punch is so important for Akhmadaliev. So, with all of that being said, regardless of what you want to talk about, regardless of Inoue's strengths or weaknesses, again, this is a hard guy to defeat. But I'm not going to say MJ don't got a shot. And so with that being said, it's time for us to talk about MJ Akhmadaliev. Now, the thing about MJ Akhmadaliev is, after looking at this guy's film, this guy is no joke. I mean, I could see why he was calling out Inoue for the longest time. And I'm not going to say Inoue was ducking him. I do feel like this fight should have happened a little bit sooner. Obviously, it was the fight with him and Tapales where he got defeated by Tapales. That's the only loss on his professional record. But here's what I will say about MJ. MJ is a tough fighter. This guy is going to be tough to beat, and he is going to make it a dogfight with Inoue. I want people to know that right now. This guy might be Inoue's toughest challenge. And so when I went and I looked at the film, I saw some strengths that he could use against Inoue, and I saw some weaknesses too that also raise a lot of questions. So with that being said, we're going to talk about MJ Akhmadaliev. Now let's get to the strengths. Straight bull. This man is a straight bull. He is going to charge from round 1 to round 12 if it goes that far. MJ will not stop charging. And that's the thing. He will not shy away. And that's going to be something that is either going to be a huge strength for Akhmadaliev, and I believe it could be a huge strength for Akhmadaliev if he uses it correctly, or it could be a huge weakness. But I'm going to count it as a strength because I feel like when you're a straight bull, somebody like Akhmadaliev who can basically just charge forward and he just goes balls to the wall. And the way this guy fights too, I mean, he can use that jab, but most of the time he's kind of like just right when the bell rings, go straight forward, charge at that guy. And a lot of guys can't take that pressure. And that's what I will say about Akhmadaliev. Great pressure, and he charges like a bull. And I feel like if he can put that pressure on Inoue, we're going to be in for a great fight. And again, I don't mind waking up early in the morning to watch this fight in Japan because I know what these two can bring. And I will say this right now, keep an eye out for that pressure from Akhmadaliev because it could matter in this fight. The other thing I will say is his overall speed. This guy's fast. And the thing is, Inoue's got some great footwork. He's got elite footwork, like I said. But the thing is with Akhmadaliev is fast when it comes to footwork. And the thing is, too, he's Uzbekistanian. Now, if we know anything about a lot of these Uzbekistanian fighters, we know that they're very awkward. Their fight style is very, very awkward. And it's kind of complicated. It's a tricky puzzle to solve. I said the same thing when Crawford was fighting Madrimov. Madrimov is not no joke. And I realized when I looked at Madrimov's film, he was very hard to figure out. He was like a puzzle. You know, he was very awkward. And it took a couple of times to watch his film to see what the weaknesses were with Madrimov. It's the same thing with MJ. MJ, he's a very awkward fighter. He's not that type of guy that's going to come in with a pure boxing form. He's going to come in with something that Inoue has never saw before. And for me, I do believe that one of the biggest keys and the biggest strengths is the speed. And I think the speed and his awkward style, it works so well because he doesn't give you time to figure out the style. He's not patient. This guy will come in. He'll take a couple hits coming in, and he'll deliver a couple hits back. And the question is, can Akhmadaliev knock down Inoue? I mean, we've seen Neri do it. We've seen Cardenas do it. We've seen guys who I believe are at lower levels than Akhmadaliev knock down Inoue. Can Akhmadaliev do the same exact thing? And for me, I do believe that speed is going to be a factor. Killer to the body. Absolutely killer. And we know Inoue is a dangerous body puncher, but so is this guy right here. And this guy is a killer when it comes to the body. If he hurts you once to the body, he will not stop. That's the thing. If he hurts you once to the body, expect him to keep going to that body for 12 rounds. And for me, I feel like the way I look at it, again, one of the weaknesses with Inoue is he leaves that body open. Who's to say that this guy doesn't hit Inoue with a body shot and it hurts him? Now, Inoue's in great shape. Again, This guy, Inoue, is well-conditioned, well-trained, so it's going to be really hard to stop him with a body shot. I'm not saying he's going to stop him. But what I will say is this guy right here, you don't want to take a body shot from him. If I'm Inoue, I'm protecting my body. I'm coming in here with more fundamentals defensively. I'm coming here a little bit more cautious. I might want to control the pace at a slower pace than a faster pace. Because the last thing I want to do is go speed for speed with this guy. Because this guy, when it comes speed-wise, Akhmadaliev might be one of the best in this division. The other thing I will say about him, he has a dangerous straight right. I will say that's probably his most dangerous punch. I see him knock a lot of guys out with that straight right, and that straight right, again, he'll throw it, again, in some of the most awkward phases. He does the same thing Inoue will do, where he'll kind of fake a feint to the body, and he'll drop the guard a little bit, and he'll come up with the right straight. Both of these guys got similar skills. They just use it in different ways. They have different styles. Inoue is more of a pure style. Akhmadaliev is more of an awkward style. But regardless of that, both of these guys got great right hands. And for me, I feel like Akhmadaliev, that straight right, I feel like that's a punch that he could use in this fight. And if he clips Inoue with that punch, that might be a punch that can knock down Inoue. He's very good with spacing. The one thing about Akhmadaliev is when it comes to him and it comes to his style of fighting, he'll throw a couple punches. He'll throw 2 or 3 punches. And again, he'll keep moving around. He will not stay in the same place. He won't stay in the same place. He won't stay in the same box. He won't keep his head straight. That's the thing. When it comes to Akhmadaliev, this is the one thing that I think he does very well with. He's got good athleticism too. But the one thing about Akhmadaliev is he moves around more than Inoue. Again, the spacing that he uses, he won't stay in the same space. And I'm very curious to see whose footwork and whose spacing is going to be better in this fight between Inoue and Akhmadaliev. But I do believe his spacing has been something that's helped him a lot. And it's something that's made him a champion. I could see why he was a champion, because he's very good at controlling the space, controlling the distance between him and his opponent. So I will say that is definitely a strength for him. Fast feet, like I said, the guy's super fast. The left hook. Remember what I said about counter lefts. The left hook from Akhmadaliev, that's no joke of a punch either. And I do believe that in this fight, I do believe that if he clips Inoue with the straight right, he could hurt him. But I do believe he has a better shot with that left hook. And I do believe when it comes to the left hook, if he can clip Inoue and he can get Inoue in a moment where Inoue might not want to be in, if he can clip him with that left hook, again, that might be a knockdown too. So I'm saying this right now, Akhmadaliev has the power to at least drop Inoue. I will say that. It's all about whether or not he uses it or not. Great stamina. I've been saying it since I've gotten to the breakdown. He can fight from round 1 to round 12. So again, if this fight goes the distance, Inoue better be prepared to go 12 rounds, because this guy is not going to slow down. He's not going to get tired. And for me, that is a very underrated strength in this fight for Akhmadaliev, because a lot of guys, you've seen it when they fight Inoue. Once they get to like the 4th, 5th, 6th round, once Inoue really starts figuring them out, you start seeing the stamina decline. And you start seeing these guys lose hope. You start seeing them get tired, because Inoue has the way Inoue fights, it gets guys tired. But I'm saying this right now, I find it hard to believe that he's going to get this guy tired. I find it hard to believe that the way Inoue fights, that style is going to get Akhmadaliev tired. I don't think it's going to happen. So I will say great stamina. I do believe that's a strength of his. He keeps his head movement, like I said, something that Inoue doesn't. He keeps his head movement. So the thing is, too, Inoue's got to remember that this guy's not going to keep his head on the line. This guy's going to be a tough guy to beat. This guy's going to be a tough fighter to hit. And so be prepared to see Inoue kind of struggle a little bit in this fight. Be prepared to see Inoue face some adversity. Be prepared to see Inoue face some adversity. And the question is, when he faces that adversity, can he deliver? And then last but not least, he's great with range. Like I said, he's very good at keeping that distance between his opponents. So now, again, Akhmadaliev, he does have some weaknesses. He's got some great strengths that he could take advantage of in this fight. He's got some strengths that a lot of fighters that I've covered against Inoue, a lot of fighters didn't. But Akhmadaliev, I feel like he's got the best shot to pull up an upset. So, with that being said, what are the weaknesses that can also get into the way? Well, the first weakness that comes to mind, again, counter left, specifically uppercuts. When I was watching some of his fights, and I believe it was the Tapales fight, Tapales kept hitting him with an uppercut. And that uppercut kept clipping Akhmadaliev. And it was the same left uppercut. It was the same repetitive punch that he kept getting clipped with. And I do believe that Marlon Tapales taking advantage of that punch early I believe it did win him some rounds, and I do believe it got Marlon Tapales the win. And Akhmadaliev kept getting clipped with that uppercut, and it didn't seem like he had an answer for it. So I will say, counter lefts, but specifically the uppercuts, that's the punch that I saw have the most success against Akhmadaliev, especially in that Tapales fight. So I will say counter lefts, uppercuts, call it what you want. That probably will be the best punch for Inoue to take advantage of. He throws punches too wide. This is one of these things. So here's the thing. He throws punches too wide. Like I said, he comes in like a bull. And when he charges in like a bull, sometimes when he throws those punches, sometimes he throws them too wide. He doesn't throw them with his elbow at a 90-degree angle. He doesn't throw them like that. He'll throw them with his arm straight out to get the reach in. And again, that's how he charges in. Sometimes he can get careless, just like Naoya Inoue. Both of them got some very similar weaknesses. But the thing is with Akhmadaliev, he gets real wild with those hooks. And again, it's something to where if Inoue clips him, if he misses with those wild hooks and Inoue clips him, I'm telling you, it might end in an early night. This is why this fight is so interesting, because there's so many different ways this fight can go. I can see this fight going so many different ways, but it's all about whether or not these fighters can capitalize on their game plan, who has the better game plan. And for me, those wild hooks, those could be Akhmadaliev's downfall. He leaves the right side of his face open. Inoue does the same exact thing. The right side of their faces are wide open. And then again, if you can get them to drop that guard, Inoue's got clipped. He's gotten knocked down. Akhmadaliev, now here's the thing with him. I haven't seen him hurt too much, but let me tell you something. He gets clipped by a left with Inoue, you best believe he's hitting that canvas. So again, he drops that right hand too much, and that is a perfect opportunity. Like I said, the uppercuts, the counter lefts, that is a perfect opportunity for Inoue to take over that fight, score a knockdown, and possibly finish it. And then last but not least, the body's open when he's on the inside. It's the same thing with Inoue. He has very similar weaknesses to Inoue. I want to say that right now. If you watch them fight, they fight in different ways, but you can see the similar skills and you can see the similar weaknesses. That's the thing with these two. And that's why I'm so excited to see this fight. And so, with that being said, we got to go to the keys to victory. So we're going to start off with Naoya Inoue. What does Naoya Inoue have to do to be able to defeat MJ Akhmadaliev? And so when we go and we look at it, here are the 3 keys to victory for Naoya Inoue. When I look at Naoya Inoue and the 3 keys to victory, the first one that I see, it's pretty simple. It's take advantage of the missed wide hooks. That's the first thing right there. I do believe that Inoue is going to have to fight this fight at a slower pace. And like I said, Inoue is very good at controlling pace. He's very good at controlling the speed of a fight. And I do believe that if he's going to go into this fight, if he's going to go in there and he's going to have some success, he has to fight it at a slow pace. In my opinion, that's the way Inoue is going to win this fight. That's the best way Inoue is going to win this fight, is fighting at a slow pace and basically forcing Akhmadaliev to make mistakes. So again, those wide hooks, take advantage of that. Like I said, control the pace of the fight and take advantage of those wide hooks. But the last key to victory for Naoya Inoue is to use those feints to open up the right side of his face. Again, like I said, Inoue is very elite when it comes to those feints. And I do believe that he's going to have to use a lot of them to get MJ to open up. MJ is confident. I'm going to say that right now. He is confident coming into this fight. And he's going to be confident that he can go in there and beat Inoue. And this is the guy that's got the best chance to upset Inoue. But Inoue has to use his feints. He has to get Akhmadaliev to drop that guard any chance he gets. And for me, I will say that the first key to victory is taking advantage of the missed wide hooks. You have to do that. The second key to victory is controlling the pace of the fight. I believe a slower pace will benefit Inoue more than a faster pace. And I do believe that's the pace that he has to come in there with. But again, whether it's fast or slow, Inoue has to control that pace. And last but not least, use the feints to open up the right side of his face. Once you can do that, I do believe that Inoue has a good chance of getting a knockout win. And so with that being said, we talked about Inoue's keys to victory. Now we got to talk about MJ Akhmadaliev's keys to victory. And so when we look at MJ Akhmadaliev's keys to victory, here they are. Now, as far as the keys to victory for MJ Akhmadaliev, I will say the first key to victory for MJ is going to be catch Inoue when he leans in with his head. Like I said, when he throws that straight to the body, he keeps his head in a line and he leans his head forward too much. And when that happens, again, take advantage of when he does that. You don't have a lot of opportunities for Inoue to do that. He doesn't do that every single combination, every single sequence. So you have to really find the perfect time for him to do that. And then once he does it, you really have to, you can't miss your opportunity. You have to clip him there. And I will say that right now. I've seen it so many times. He does the same thing Errol Spence does. If he can lean he keeps his head on a line and he leans forward too much. If he does that, Akhmadaliev can go right in there, hit him with a counter punch, maybe a 2-3 punch combination, and knock down Inoue. So I do believe that if that opportunity presents himself, Akhmadaliev has to take advantage of it. The second key to victory is counter punch with the left. Inoue has been knocked down with that left hand twice. I think Akhmadaliev has to take advantage of that left hook. He's got a good left hook. He's got a great right straight. But in my opinion, the left hook is going to be the punch that is going to have more opportunities of landing on Inoue instead of the right hand. If he hits him with the right hand, I do believe he has a chance of hurting Inoue. But that left hook, that counter left hook specifically, is going to be the punch that could potentially upset Inoue, and it is going to be the punch that Akhmadaliev is going to have to use wisely, and he's going to have to use it to his advantage. And last but not least, attack the body on the inside. There's going to be times where these guys go into an inside exchange. Attack the body on Inoue. And the reason why I say that is because Akhmadaliev is a killer body puncher. I don't care how he does it, but he has to attack that body. He has to. And in my opinion, that's the only way that you're going to have the best chance at winning this fight, especially if that fight goes into the later rounds. You have to tire Inoue. I've seen moments where Inoue seemed like he could kind of see himself in danger. And I do feel like if you keep on attacking that body, especially when you get to the inside, if you can give Inoue reasons not to go into the inside, I do believe that those are easy ways for Akhmadaliev to score points in case this fight does go the distance. So for me, those would be my 3 keys to victory for MJ Akhmadaliev. Again, catch Inoue when he leans his head forward. The opportunity, if it presents itself, you have to pull that trigger. Counter punch with the left. Again, that left hand, that left counter punch is going to be there. You got to take advantage of it, especially when it comes to the left hook, and especially when it comes to Naoya Inoue, because like I said before, he's very susceptible to that. Like, that's one of his weaknesses with it. He keeps getting clipped with the counter left, and I do believe that that's what Akhmadaliev is going to have to use. And last but not least, attack the body. You're going to have to tire him. You're going to have to gain some points on the inside. That's the best way you're going to do it. And so now we go to the betting odds for Naoya Inoue versus MJ Akhmadaliev. And when we go to the betting odds show that Naoya Inoue, as of September 12th at 11:20 p.m., Naoya Inoue is the favorite at -1,000, while MJ Akhmadaliev is the underdog at +600. Now, with all of that being said, how do I see this fight going? Well, here's what I will say. I could see an upset. If there's going to be an upset, it's going to be Akhmadaliev, at least in this division, until Inoue bumps up divisions and he goes up against Junto Nakatani or Bam Rodriguez. Then obviously those guys have a better shot at defeating Inoue. But as far as this division, Akhmadaliev's got the best shot. So here's what I will say. Could I see an upset happening? If an upset did happen, I wouldn't be surprised. But here's what I actually see happening. These guys are going to go to war. It's going to be like Donaire versus Inoue 1. These guys are going to go to war. Inoue's going to have his moments early. Akhmadaliev's going to take some of those middle rounds. And again, he might end up shifting the momentum. But here's the thing. You never want to get Inoue to round 11. That's the one round you do not want to get Inoue in. Round 11. Because round 11, if you can get him to round 11, he turns up. I mean, there's been plenty of instances where he has knocked guys down or he has crumbled guys in round 11. You go look at the Butler fight. I believe it was the Butler fight where he got him to round 11 and he knocked him out. It might have been Desmarais. Again, somebody in the comments correct me on that. But he definitely has had a lot of success in round 11. And I do believe that that's when you're going to see Inoue pick it up. I do believe early Inoue is going to start off fast. He's going to take some of those early rounds. I believe Akhmadaliev is going to take some of those momentum in the middle rounds. Then once you get to the 9th and 10th round, that's when Inoue is really going to start pressing the gas. And then come round 11, I think he's going to TKO Akhmadaliev, and I think that's how this fight is going to end. So with that being said, as far as the prediction, I got Naoya Inoue by 11th round KO, specifically TKO. I think Akhmadaliev is going to take him to the later rounds, which is something that a lot of opponents haven't done yet. But I think once this is all said and done, you're going to see why Naoya Inoue is the monster, why he's arguably the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and why he's easily going to be a future first ballot Hall of Famer. It's because I do believe that when you push him to those later rounds, I believe he's gonna light it up. I believe he's gonna pull a trigger. I believe he's gonna turn on a switch, and I believe that's when you're gonna see the most dangerous Inoue you are possibly gonna see. He is going to absolutely brutalize Akhmadaliev. And Akhmadaliev is not going to get tired. He's going to keep coming forward. Like I said, Akhmadaliev does not get tired. He's going to keep on coming forward. But the one thing you have to understand is when he keeps on coming forward, Inoue is going to solve that puzzle. And when he does, it's going to be very, very dangerous. So with that being said, I got Inoue by 11th round TKO KO. And so with that being said, that fight is going to be taking place the day after Canelo versus Crawford, September 14th. Naoya Inoue versus MJ Akhmadaliev in Tokyo, Japan. Yes, unfortunately for us American fans, we're going to have to wake up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. to watch an Inoue fight. Some of us, again, some people got kids, so they got to bring their kids to school, and they might miss the fight. They might have to watch the highlights. Some people might oversleep. We all know the whole story when it comes to Naoya Inoue fighting in Japan. But you know what? I used to say, can you please fight in the United States? I can't say that no more because he did have a fight in Vegas. Would I like to see more fights with Inoue in the United States? Absolutely. But as far as this fight, you best believe I'm going to be waking up at 6 a.m. to watch this fight. This is going to be a great fight when it comes to both of these guys. And I can't miss it. I got to wake up at the right time, and I have to watch this fight because I do believe it's going to be one of the most entertaining fights of the year. So if y'all want to see a great fight, y'all are going to have the hangover of Canelo and Crawford. But let me tell you something. I'm going to watch Canelo and Crawford. I'm going to make my post-fight episode, and then I'm going to get myself sleep. I'm going to wake up at the crack of dawn, and I'm going to watch Inoue versus Akhmadaliev. That is going to be my weekend of boxing. And so if y'all want to see two great fights, tune into the Inoue versus Akhmadaliev fight after the Crawford and Canelo fight. And so with that being said, it's time for us to log out. Again, for everybody who has followed the Puncher's Point, subscribed to the Puncher's Point, liked, commented, all of that, I appreciate you. Good, bad comments don't matter. I appreciate you guys for being interactive, giving your opinions, and overall just expressing your emotions and feelings towards this podcast. And again, we're going to keep on coming out with new prediction episodes, post-fight episodes. Make sure y'all definitely take a look at the post-fight episodes after Canelo and Crawford and after Inoue and Akhmadaliev. And again, make sure y'all continue to tune into the social media with all of the interactive content that we got. Make sure y'all definitely continue to tune into the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Reddit, the Threads, the Discord, all of those beautiful social media websites. Make sure y'all continue to tune into the Puncher's Point over there. And last but not least, make sure y'all continue to tune into the Puncher's Point on all podcast platforms. And make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.